Hi and welcome. The goal for this episode is very simple: create sign-up form and manage its state. So let's open sign-up page component that we have right now, and let's introduce a little bit of markup. So we'll add row and also column D4 and column D offset 4. So this way we have our form right in the middle of the screen. I'm going to remove this from here, and let's use sign-up form component that we do not have right now, but we create it in a moment. So we import sign-up form from sign-up form. Okay, so let's create this component, sign-up form.js. And that's going to be a class component because this component is basically a form, and form has state. So we will need to manage state. So let's define it as the class component. We call it sign-up form. And here is going to be a form. So now let's create simple form. So we have h1, which is going to be just join our community. And then we'll have the form group, and I'm using Bootstrap styling here. And inside of it, we'll have label with class name control label. And that's important for styling when we'll have our validations. And the first field is going to be username. Then let's define input with type of text, with name of username, and we will use this name later on change event, and with class name form control. Let's close it, and let's add another one, form group, and inside of it we'll define button with button class, button primary, and button large. Okay, so this is our form, very simple. So now we need to introduce state to this component. But first, let's go to terminal and let's run our server and have a look at our form. So if we go here, excellent, beautiful. But of course, this form right now doesn't have any state. We need to introduce it. So let's do it. As we use ES6 classes, we define state in a constructor. So let's define constructor, which takes props. And the first thing that we must do is to call super props. And then we need just to define state variable, and that's going to be username as an empty string right now. Okay, so this is our state, so we're going to use it in our input field here as the value, this state username. And now if we go back to browser, reload the page, and try to type something, nothing happens. You can hear that I'm typing, but nothing happens because now we need to introduce onChange event so we can update the state of this component. So let's do this. onChange equals this onChange. That's going to be our event handler. Let's define it right here. It takes event, and we're going to use this set state to set state on this component. But there is a little bit of a problem here because now this keyword is actually referring to the context of event, not the component. So we need to bind another context to this function. And we can do it two ways. One way is we bind in this context right here when we use it. And another one is a little bit more preferable, I think. We define it in the constructor. So we redefine this onChange as this onChange, bind this. And now we have proper context in this function. So now we need to update our username in the state, and we could do it like this: username equals e-target value. But that's not really flexible because this way for each element in the form we need to create separate function. Instead of it, we'll use e-target name, which we specified right here. So by convention, we require each form field to have a name. Okay, let's save it, go back to browser. Now if you type, it works. And if you go to React here and search for form, you can see that it has state with username, and this state is changing when we type something. Excellent. So we're almost done. Now we need to define onSubmit. So every time when we submit form, we take this state object and we will send it to the server. But for now, let's just create this onSubmit event, this onSubmit, And we repeat the same thing with binding right here. Submit. And let's define it on submit, takes event, and we of course prevent default. And then let's just console.log this state object that we're going to pass to another function later, which will make the AJAX request to our server. So if we save it, go back to browser, open console here, I have again typo, submit. Let's try it again. I'm gonna refresh the page. And here, if I type something and click on submit, here we go, object username, gibberish. Excellent, it works. So basically we're done, but let's finish our form. We need also to have email, password confirmation, and a time zone. So for this application, time zone is essential because we'll have game scheduling. So let's add these fields into our state. So we'll have email, we'll have password confirmation, and we'll have time zone. Now I'm going to just copy and paste another 3 fields right here. And they are identical to our username field, except that we use email and we renamed name and value. We're using the proper state field. Okay, let's save it. Go back to browser. Excellent, we got our form. And it works. So the last thing is to have the time zone, and I want to make it as a select. So first we need to have time zones, like we could sort in a database, but for now I just took it from the internet, and let's create here in a client folder, we create data folder, and inside of it time zone.js file, and I'm gonna paste it right here. So all I do here is I export object with all time zones. So let's save it. Now I'm gonna import it from here, time zones, from data time zones. Okay, so now here I'm going to paste select. So we have the label, we have select with class name, with name, time zone, the same on change and the same value because nothing changed, everything will still work. And we provide option. The first option is like a helper text with empty value and disabled. There's going to be choose your time zone. And all other will be options. So we'll have options here. So let's create this options variable right here, beginning here. We'll define constant options. And we want to map this object into array of options. And for that, we'll use map from Lodash so we can iterate through object as well. So we'll have map, and I'm going to import map from Lodash map. And the first argument is our time zones object. And the second is a function, the first argument of which is value, and the second one is key. And it returns option with key value and with value as value. And here we display key itself. Okay, so let's save it. Now we need to install Lodash. So let's run npm install save Lodash. So let's run our server again. Go back to browser, reload the page. And we have in our time zone as well. If we choose something and we submit, we'll have our time zone here. Excellent, it works. So we've done for this episode. Let's commit. Sign up form and its state. And that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching.